Citizens and lawmakers horrified as new images continue to surface showing thousands of children separated from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border. Despite the uproar from leaders, President Trump is passing the blame to Democrats, saying they could put a stop to this.
And tonight we're asking if Arizona congressional leaders support the president's policy. Team 12's Joe Dana joins us in the studio. Joe?
Congress members and senators who represent Arizona are slowly making public statements on a story now dominating national headlines. Audio recordings published Monday by a nonprofit news site provide a glimpse of what it's like inside a Texas holding facility of migrant children separated from their parents.
Lo más pronto posible para irme con ella. Tengo el número yo de memoria 34.
More than 2,300 children have been separated from their parents since April. It's an emotional flashpoint in a broader, complicated debate over immigration. Today, Homeland Security Secretary Kristen Nielsen said the plight of the kids is just one part of the story.
The narratives we don't see are the narratives of the crime, of the opioids, of the smugglers, of people who are killed by gang members.
We asked Arizona's Congress members and senators where they stand on President Trump's separation policy. Some Democrat Congress members are openly railing against the practice. Phoenix Congressman Ruben Gallego at a rally Sunday.
It is destroying our whole idea of what it means to be a moral American, and it cannot stand.
Raul Grijalva of Tucson participating in a recent rally at the Capitol.
It is abhorrent to separate moms from their kids.
Tom O'Halloran of Yavapai County publicly denounced the policy. We have yet to receive responses from Martha McSally of Tucson, Paul Gosar of Prescott, Andy Biggs of Gilbert, David Schweikert of Scottsdale. Newly elected Representative Debbie Lesko of Peoria did not outright say whether she opposes the policy. Democrat Kirsten Sinema of Phoenix tells 12 News this is wrong. As for Arizona's two senators, Republican Jeff Flake recently tweeted he wants more information about the problem. Senator John McCain tweeted this afternoon the administration's current family separation policy is an affront to the decency of the American people and contrary to principles and values upon which our nation was founded. And Debbie Lesko of Peoria did also tell us she believes both immigration bills expected to be considered by the House this week will end the separation of children from their parents at the border. Representative Gosar also tweeted he blames President Obama for this policy.
And Joe, I think I know the answer to this, except for it seems to be split along party lines, but public opinion about this.
Yeah, the latest Quinnipiac University poll found a majority of Republicans, they support the Trump administration's policy of separating children from their parents when they are caught illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. There's some controversy about how many of these people are turning themselves in willingly instead of being caught. The poll also found 66% of American voters overall oppose this policy.
All right, Joe, thanks.